Thanks for logging on to MyFoxHurricane.com. So we continue to watch Tropical Storm Fiona. Now, yesterday we were looking at this system. We were talking about that strong wind shear and how the center was really just completely exposed with this system. But despite that, it was actually strengthening a little bit. Now, that was kind of short-lived, and that's kind of expected. When you get the center very well exposed, you start to get some of that dry air getting in. The wind shear does eventually take hold, and it did weaken somewhat over the overnight hours, back down to 50 miles an hour. But one of the things that's been going on with this is it wasn't moving completely due west. It had the strong wind shear sitting on that northern side, but it was sinking a little bit to the south. And what it did is it got it just enough to the south of that strong wind shear that all that strong convection was actually able to build back in closer to the center. So as you watch the beginning part of this loop, you can see how ragged this system was looking. But as the loop goes on, notice you start seeing more and more of that deep, deep convection getting closer and closer to the center. So this system has been reorganizing itself, getting all that convection closer to the center, wants to wrap it around the center. That's what a developing system does. Now, as this continues on, there are indications it may start to wobble back and forth. It should stay to the south of that strong wind shear. And that's because right now you can see it's kind of a lopsided storm. And if it's going to intensify as the convection starts to wrap around this, it will tend to make it wobble somewhat. So that's what we'll be watching for as we go through the next several days. There's that wind shear still sitting just to the north of this system. Now, as it gets over, say, into the Atlantic, after it moves over, it looks like it's going to be moving over Hispaniola. It does look like that wind shear will start to decrease, and so it will give it that opportunity to eventually start to strengthen. So here's the latest on Fiona. Right now, it's moving to the west at 14 miles an hour. The top winds are currently at 50 miles an hour. So as it works its way through the Caribbean, it looks like it may be wobbling along the way, but it looks like moderate to a strong tropical storm working its way over eventually Hispaniola and then up into the Atlantic. And that's where we've got lower wind shear by that point and also plenty of moisture around. So it does look like it'll have that opportunity to start to strengthen. Now, the big key, what we've been talking about for days, is exactly where is it going to make that turn, because if it makes it earlier, it keeps it further away from us. Now we're starting to get more and more consensus among the various computer models. Yesterday, I was showing the models and they were just all over the place. Today, you're starting to see they're getting a little more clustered. So you're not seeing them spreading all over the place. You're seeing more of that cluster, and that gives you more and more confidence on exactly what is going to happen with this as we go through the next several days. The big question obviously would be the amount of rain across portions of these islands, the land interactions as it works its way over Hispaniola as well. The Fox model showing that torrential rain working its way through the islands over Puerto Rico and then up towards Hispaniola as well. Obviously, huge amounts of rain is going to cause a lot of problems in these areas. You start to get these big mudslides, and that will tend to be an issue and be a concern as we go through the next few days and then working its way up into the Atlantic. So we're going to continue to watch this through the weekend, and we'll keep you updated right here on MyFoxHurricane.com.